exists or he
We can
doesn't
do it.
exist?
We
Which
can
one?
Infinity. We can do it.
Hold on, before we go, Ben
Just
Shapiro.
gonna
Do you
ignore
believe
him
that God
because
exists or he
I'm
doesn't
ignoring him.
exist? I'm sorry, do you believe God exists or that he doesn't exist? Which one? Look, so you ran away from Careless,
Believe
you
that
ran away from
God
Archie,
exists?
we didn't gaslit you
I
into
never
debating
ran
Archie
from
and then
careless. I
losing.
told him to his
So
face
look,
we can
are we going to
debate. We
debate or
can still
not?
debate.
Would you take God's existence or God's non-existence if we were to do
No,
the
I'm
illogical debate?
not. You can keep asking. I'm not gonna debate you like this.
Oh, you're not going to debate me? Okay, you're time for a week
No,
then.
but I didn't
Yeah.
run from careless. I don't know where you
Well,
say
Look,
that.
I don't care about you focusing on another man, but look, you're timed. Anyways, moving on. All right, Gizbob, let's debate.
What?
Oh, is that a duck?
JJK,
Is that a duck?
What
Is that a
topic?
duck?
Maki versus
Hakari.
Hakari.
Fuck you.
Who do you have between
Maki
Maki and
versus
Hakari?
fucking Hakari. Can we get real?
Yeah, are you not? Anyways, are you not the same opinion that Zizu holds?
Probably not. I disagree with him a lot on JJK stuff.
Okay, I'm gonna assume that means that you have Maki above Hakari. Who do you have Maki below?
Oh no, then I do agree with him.
Wait, so you have Maki below Hakari?
Yeah, I think Maki sucks.
All right, look, who's the judge?
I'll judge.
Hell no, damn.
Yo.
Archie judge.
Hell
Oh
no.
fuck no.
Okay, I don't know what it was. Hell no, we can
I'm
have
better
Marvel
than
judge.
both of you, by the way. I'm better than both of you, by the way.
Sorry, man. Sorry.
Wait, is that shit
Then
talk I heard?
Okay, but Ben Shapiro.
Wait,
It is shit
wait,
talk you heard.
no.
This is me
Yeah,
shit talking you. That is.
Alright, bet. Drop
I don't have that much time with you.
Drop it, VC. That's fine. Hold on.
I bet. Anyways, look though, Cho can judge. Do you get a Cho?
No, bro. No, I don't know
Okay,
anything
do you get a
about
model?
that guy.
Do you get a model?
No, bro.
Do you get a flat or do you get a future?
Yeah, actually, Future's fine.
Okay, future, would you judge? Future, would you judge? Bro, I want to listen. I'll watch Rec. Promise this nigga's capping. Okay, anyways. Who else? Would you agree to Curl?
No.
Name people you would agree with.
People.
I mean, okay, Future said
like
he would watch
in the
recording.
VC.
No,
Yanni
doesn't have to
and
go to
Future.
VC
That's
back.
like B and Oh, Ja as well.
That's the Yanni. Well, that's irrelevant though. It doesn't matter. He just said he'll what? I mean, he probably still watch the recording. Sure, we can talk about a point before I have to go. So yeah, sure. For the recording.
Oh, I would agree.
Actually, huh?
I would agree to see. See just right.
Anyways, so this is what's gonna happen while we debate. Actually, this yogurt guy, who I'm assuming is C, is gonna get time for a week.
Wait, so I'm gonna untime
That's
with
silly.
him and As10 real quick.
Anyways. Anyways, we can start before I have to go.
Okay.
If I leave midpoint, then we can just continue to point after.
Sure.
Okay, sure. So for the recording, the judge is Future. He's going to be going off for the recording, I guess. He promised. Hopefully he's not lying. My position is that Maki beats Hakari. What's your position?
The inverse of yours.
Okay, go ahead. Would you like to start?
No, you got it.
All right, sure. I just think Maki has better feats than Hakari. For
What are the better
example,
feats?
her showing relativity to 20-finger Megan, or I apologize, 15-finger Megan.
Talking about when she fights him with Yuji?
215, yup.
He's stated to be nerfed and she gets her ass beat.
Why do you believe that he's nerfed physically? Because that's what I'm talking about when it comes to relativity.
It's stated in reference to his curse energy in a broader sense, which should
Why do you believe it's in reference to his curse energy instead of it being
just
in
the
reference to
verbiage
output?
used. I'll pull up the chapter.
Yeah, you can go ahead and get that.
215, right?
Yeah, manga pill is translation I'm using, by the way. I don't know what they use, but I'm going off of manga pill.
Oh, I usually use TCB, but I think it's the same.
I mean, you can show TCB, but I don't know if I would agree.
Well, let me see what the vid says anyways, if it's like something way different then.
And just to clarify for future, I'm sure you heard this, Gizbob, but for future, in the recording at least, I'm of the belief that it's talking about his CE output. So when it comes to a CT specifically, I believe that's what it's talking about. He believes it's referring to CE overall. So yeah.
Let me pull up TCB as well, just so I have it up.
Ironic.
What? Did you just say ironic?
Yeah, it's ironic, man. 215. Also, Zizo, do you have the lightning translation? Because I'm pretty sure that also says
Lightning translation for what?
215 Sukuna's curse energy.
No. Let me see.
Okay.
Yo,
Also,
why
the
is he
scans
saving?
unplug
Whoa,
remote
whoa, whoa,
transmission.
whoa, 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 whoa. Hey, Rizhan, bro, you better get time, bro. Why are you being weird, bro? Nigga, stopping the recording this shit.
Yeah,
Rizan,
what
stop recording, bro.
Okay, Crow's recording. We can continue. I don't know why Rizhan did that. He's still getting time because it got going.
Both the scans are in scans
See
chat.
you in 7 weeks, Rizan.
He speaks in reference to his curse energy output, which I do think has a correlation to stats, and then immediately after he says
Okay,
amount of curse
okay,
energy.
wait. Okay, that's fine. Hold on. Before we get to the second scan, I'm going to dismiss that for now. Let's talk about the CE output. Why do you believe that's referential to reinforcement?
It's quite literally stated with regards to what makes a sorcerer strong or what allows them to have high
Yeah, show
AP, high
that. Show that CE
speed.
output is in reference to CE reinforcement in the same way, at least in this scenario, as well.
Definitionally speaking, output would be in reference to any utilization of curse energy external to the body, which is what reinforcement
When you
is.
say external to the body, hold on. When you say external to the body, why is it not the case that it's external to the interior and exterior? Or I apologize, interior. Because reinforcement would apply to the exterior of the body, but it would still be a part of the body. So why is it just not the case by output? They mean things that leave the body, like for example, a blast or something along the lines of that, or something that is tangible with something else.
Well, yeah, but I think to cloak your body in something means it has to leave the body, leave both the interior and exterior.
Maybe you're not listening.
Surround the exterior to the external.
Hold on. When we say, hold on, just to be clear. When we say exterior as well, it would be a part of the exterior, as in it's cloaking you. That's what it means definitionally. To cloak something is to cover. Hold on, let me finish. Hold on. To cloak something means definitionally to be a part of the exterior, covering the exterior. So why is it the case that by output, which I don't care about your colloquial view either way, why is it the case that by output they're talking about the exterior cover of the body, such as reinforcement, and then I would like you to send the scan that you talked about initially, which comments on reinforcement having the correlation that you used at least to curse energy output.
I'll get that in a second. I'll address the first part. I would not grant that definitionally speaking, it is in reference to something being a part of the exterior. I agree in the sense that it is covering the exterior.
I said it covers the exterior, which no, what I said was
covering is not a part of.
I said definitionally it would be talking about covering, in which you believe that doesn't entail it's a part of. So I'm asking for the argument.
Yeah,
wait, Gizbob, you still want to stand?
If I pour some water on you, is the water now a part of you, or is there just water on your body?
You said what?
I say I'll just present to you an analogy. If I'm gonna pour some water on you or something like that, is the water a part of you, or is the water on your body?
Is, when you say a part of you, I'm assuming you're talking about a part of one's essence. Yes, the water is now a part of you. It would just be accidental. The same as a shirt would be an identifying feature of you. If it's on you, it would just be accidental rather than essential. Additionally, there would be a distinction between the two scenarios, meaning that's disanalogous because one is coming from the belly of the sorcerer, and then it's just going from the exterior, or it's going from the interior to the exterior rather than you just pouring water on me.
There you go.
Well, yeah, but touching the exterior, you do understand what exterior means definitionally. It means external too, right?
No, it means external to the interior within this context.
Well, no, it just means external to, just like purely definitionally.
Yeah, maybe you're not listening. I agree purely definitionally. It's talking about, hold on. I agree purely definitionally. It's talking about external to, bro, Corin, chill. I agree, and I can grant that it's talking about purely, or I apologize. It's talking about external to, but I'm saying relative within this context, it would be external to the interior of the body. What we mean by exterior. So the exterior of the body will be relative to the interior. That's how we determine what the exterior is. And then this will just be cloaking the exterior. In the two scenarios you named, one which is curse energy cloaking, and then secondly, which is water being a part of you. In both scenarios, under the view that I gave, it will be the case that it's a part of you accidentally. With at least with the water scenario, it will be accidentally a part of you. With the curse energy scenario, it depends on your view, but I could also say that's accidentally a part of you as well. And even if we separate scenarios, the separate point would be the case that one comes from the interior of your body and then forms around the body exterior, while the water does not come from you at all.
We can get into the water thing after. What about this hyper-specific context? Do you think lends credence any sort of disparity between the definitional usage
what
of
hyper-specific context are you talking about?
The actual context, that being curse energy reinforcement. What about that? Do you think grants any sort of credence to the idea that exterior is being used in some specific connotation as opposed to the definition?
Wait, hold on. What are you? Hold on, wait. I don't think you understand. What example did I give within JJK that talks about what context we're applying it to?
Well, no, you said it is exterior in reference to the interior.
No, maybe you're not listening. I'm saying it's exterior. Yeah, exterior is relative. Obviously, we cannot determine whether or not something is exterior unless there's another system or the opposite. So we use
point
the
being,
word
you're saying
exterior.
it's only exterior in the sense that it is not the interior, correct?
No, that's not. I'm not saying that's the only thing, but that's the relevant thing. The reason why it's exterior is because it's not internal. It's not interior. It's exterior to the body's internal because tautologically it's not internal. Obviously, that's tautological. If you're questioning tautology, you can write, and I can just justify that. But sure, continue.
What did you say at the end there? You cut out for me.
It's tautological. Something is exterior if it isn't interior. It is the case that this thing is exterior because it isn't internalized within the body of Jujitsu or sorcerer or citizen. Therefore, it's exterior.
Also, I think this is something we should speak in reference to. What do you like? How do you define output in this context? Like, what
I already
definition
told
of
you.
output?
So
do you think
look,
this falls
I'm
under?
not going to give a specific definition, but just a clear description real quick. It will be output if and only if it leaves the body, interior and exterior, in my opinion. But I'm still waiting for the argument as to why.
Okay, then if we
wouldn't tell
speak in
output.
reference to something like reuse beams, which I'm sure you'd grant as output, right? Because I think you spoke in reference to beams initially.
If the beam leaves his exterior and his interior, yes. In terms of
Okay,
his
so
body's
part of the
exterior,
beam
yes.
is going to be touching his body. Part of the beam is going to be far from him. Do you think part of the
Can you
beam
show
is
an
still not
example?
output?
Hold on. Can you show? Chill. Can you show an example of a part of a beam that's touching his body?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, and let me clarify. The part of the beam, which obviously the beam is made up of CE particles, the part of the beams, in other words, the CE particles in which is touching his body, are going to be accidentals of his body if it is the case that they're attached to his chill. If it is the case that they're attached to his body, as in the cursed energy is leaving his body, rather than the CE particles that are far from his body, those are separate particles. The beam isn't all put together. I hope you know that. It's just a collaboration of CE particles that creates the beam. That's how CE output, or that's how CE attacks work. It's just particles of CE put together to make an attack, at least specifically for the Ryu beam.
Yes, point being, granting that it does touch his body, which I'll get a panel for here in a second. There's no mechanism, or at least no meaningful mechanism by which it would grow stronger the further it goes
if
from
it
his
is the
body.
case that the CE particles touch his body, then sure, but I'm still waiting for that scan. At least short of what I just said, which it still wouldn't justify your point, as I've explained why. I have to go in 2 minutes, by the way.
Okay, well, let me see if I can find a scan of Ryu's beam.
Hey, if anybody has a scan, they can send it as well of clarifying, because this is what I believe you said, but if this isn't, you can cut me off. The scan that we're looking for currently is a scan of Ryu's beams touching his body when he's releasing them. And let me also clarify, the entire point is he releases the beam. So obviously to release something, there's some point in time in which it's going to be... Wait, chill. There's going to be some point in time in which the beam is still connected to you because you're releasing it. To release something is to let go of.
I can get a scan, but I don't know if it's the one Gizbob is thinking. I don't want to like.
You can
Feel
get,
like
I'm not trying to rock. I'm fine with any scan in which would justify his point towards it touching his body, even though I still gave a hypothetical in which I can grant that and it still not follow.
I mean, I'll get one for you, Gizbob.
Okay, wait, Yogur sent a scan in general. Do you want to use that one when he's clashing with his back-to-back to Yuta?
Well, yeah, there's like a pretty big...
This is the one I got.
In that scan, hold on. Wait, chill. In that scan, I agree, like I said, that the particles in which is connected to his body are accidentals of his body within that instance. They come from his body, and that he's using the burst to separate himself and Yuta. I agree. That does not mean that he isn't releasing the other particles in which he's just letting go. So that doesn't defeat the point.
Yeah, no, the issue with that is going to be it's just inherently less parsimonious to posit that there's some mechanism by which cursed energy grows stronger when further removed from the body, despite contrary evidence consistently throughout the series.
I never said that cursed energy grows stronger if that's the claim you're making. I never said cursed energy grows stronger when it releases the body.
Under your view.
Why?
Because you're arguing that somebody is, if they're to be nerfed in output, the cursed energy surrounding their body or touching their body still is not to be nerfed.
Yeah, what's the problem? Wait, hold on, just be clear. When we say nerfed and out, yeah, I can grant that. Nerfed to output wouldn't tell that there wouldn't be a connection to being nerfed and reinforcement. It depends on how they're nerfed and output, yes. Because I believe he's nerfed and output, not in every single way, but CT-wise, I believe he's nerfed and output. What I believe is occurring, specifically in this context, so it wouldn't even apply to the hypothetical you gave. What I believe is occurring is every single time, which you don't even have to grant, and I don't even have to assert this, but I'm just going to give you my view so you can understand the argument and model your response off of it. What I believe is occurring is that Megami is unconsciously pulling back the CT. That's what I'm talking about when it says output, not general output, but that's completely fine as well, but mostly the CT. I believe he's pulling the CT back whenever he's attempting to harm his friends. That's what I believe is occurring, which is why as soon as he uses the CT, not anything else, his hand starts to twitch, and that's when he notices the CE output going down or not being as effective. Now, if it is the case that I grant your position, then I can just say it's obviously not that effective or it's not that relevant when it comes to a CE output drop correlated to CE reinforcement because he only notices the CE output drop whenever he's about to use the CT. So he was fighting Itadori before. He never comments on the CE output drop until he's about to use the CT. Therefore, it's likely that the indication was the CT, and that would be the relevant part rather than the relevant part being a CE reinforcement, meaning that the CE reinforcement drop shouldn't be that much if it is the case that your position is true.
Yeah, the issue with that is going to be he experiences basically everything meaningful to both reinforcement and his curse technique prior to making any sort of statement. So I think it's more so a conjunctive thing where he experiences his durability is lower, his AP is lower.
Repeat that.
Oh, I was saying it's more so seems to me to be a conjunctive thing where he experiences every aspect of CE reinforcement along with his curse technique, and only after experiencing all of these things, he then is able to make a comment with regards to CE.
Yeah, but why would that have more explanatory power? I don't think that makes any sense.
He seems outright confused by Yuji's strength in comparison to his own.
No, I think he just seems outright confused. Wait, hold on. When the confusion comes after the CT is used, and then secondly, he seems confused about Itadori, because when we're talking about, there's two confusion points. There's a confusion point of why his CT output is working the way it is, which I believe that's talking about his CT, and then there's a confusion point of Itadori's strength. Why do you believe there's a comparison between Itadori's strength in that instance and then his own strength when he's talking about...
This is prior to the CT usage.
Yeah, show that. Because I agree that he was confused about Itadori's strength.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He's confused.
No. Yeah, so where did this strength come from? I already said this. There's 2 points in which there's confusion. There's confusion after the CT pull back, and there's confusion about Itadori's strength. I agree that Itadori was amped in this scenario, which would cause him to be stronger than he was before, and at which point that Sukuna was in his body. Therefore, there would be confusion about where this amped Itadori strength came from. So there's 2 confusions.
Why would Yuji be...
before we get to that, hold on, because this nigga is, I don't know who this is, but this nigga is dick running. Wait, go ahead, what was the question?
Why would we grant that Yuji's amped as opposed to Sukuna being nerfed? That's something we already have.
Okay, wait, when you say that Sukuna nerf, I can grant that he's nerfed, but we just disagree on what it means for him to be nerfed. Secondly, there's
we're attributing his confusion to something.
Let me finish the question. I'm going to dismiss that. But there's no motivation as to why there would be a comparison in this instance, because he doesn't talk about Itadori being this strong in comparison to himself. Additionally, the observation he's going off of seems to be something external to his strength, but rather, for example, him surviving the rock thing, or him pushing the rock off, whatever, etc. And then thirdly, the reason why I believe he's amped is because of the anger amp, the white eyes, etc. I think these are all indications that can be lead or credence towards his amp. Even if you don't believe he's amp, that's fine, but go ahead.
Okay, well, for one, I do think it is a comparative thing, as he makes this statement immediately following Yuji punching him, right? He punches Sukuna away, and that makes a statement.
Because it seems to be the case that he made this... Yeah, it seems to be the case that he made this comparison after Itadori was able to block that little thing right there. Like, he pushed that, whatever that structure is.
This is the immediately, previous panel.
No, I can grant that they fought before that. I'm saying... No, I can grant that they fought before. I'm saying that the statement comes after he pushed this panel, which would, in his mind, maybe kill a prior version of Itadori. I can grant that they fought before.
He's literally smiling while grabbing Itadori's neck. His facial expression only changes when Yuji charges up an attack.
So
his reaction is going to be...
I agree. Hold on. I agree.
Hold
on. I agree that his impression changed after Itadori throwing an attack. Why does that mean that the statement he made about Itadori becoming stronger
to his durability?
What? No, I didn't. I said it was correspondent to him pushing the panel or surviving or surviving the structure which failed on him. So I'm not saying it's just talking about him surviving the structure. It could be the case that it's talking about him pushing the panel in which he believes maybe that a version of Itadori prior to the one that he left would not be able to do that. Additionally, I can also grant, like I said, he's already amped in my opinion, so him changing his face doesn't mean anything. It doesn't have to talk about a comparison of strength, but you're not listening. The fact that Itadori's amped is stronger than the version of Itadori that he knew before. So in sum, Itadori amped. If it is the case that Itadori is amped, then Sukuna might be at full power when it comes to reinforcement. However, he's still surprised at Itadori's newfound strength, which is why there's an expression change. Sukuna does not have to be stronger or weaker when it comes to an impression change, because if he deems Itadori to be at a level that he's not at due to the amp, for example, he can change his impression or expression. Simple as that.
Yeah. So for one, I believe it's more likely that his response is going to be indexed to the attack landing on him, or the
Okay,
strength
you want to
of the
conclude?
attack as opposed
Let's
to
just circle this.
You can think that, but you're going to let me finish the argument. I don't really care if you
Look,
want to
that was definitely circle. It's not just you just repeated the
Yeah,
claim. That's
you're
why
going to
circle.
let me finish the argument.
I mean, I
Yeah.
can if
Anyways,
you
I think
want, but no,
yeah,
it's
you're
not
not
that I'm going
to.
to. I'm not going to if you just say random bullshit.
You absolutely are. Okay, so
I'm definitely
anyways,
not if you go
I
to say
think it's more
bullshit.
likely corresponded to the attack given the visual representation we have. We see Yuji charging an attack, then this expression change
I
immediately
agree.
following
That can
the
be an
charge of
yeah,
the
I can
attack.
agree. Hold on, I can agree. That's what he
I
uses
think
to
it's more
infer
likely
the
than not that
strength
it's
increase.
correspondent to this thing.
Wait, no. I can
Also,
grant that. That's hold on. I can grant that. That's what he infers. Hold on. I can grant that's what he used to infer Itadori's increase in strength. That doesn't defeat what I said. We can conclude. I ain't gonna
Yeah,
lie.
strength is not correspondent to durability again, so I don't think his
I've never. Okay, let's conclude.
following
Wait.
statement
If
is
you
going to
think,
be
hold on. If you think
correspondent
that's
to
my
his ability
response,
to
okay, let's conclude.
survive
If you think that's
anything
my
at
point, let's
all.
conclude. If you think that's my
Why
point,
do you
let's conclude.
keep begging for conclusions?
Because I told you I have to
You're gonna
go.
let me
I already
continue.
said this, my nigga. Why would you ask that to be rhetorical? I already just told you I had to
You
go.
said you were going to go 2 minutes, like 20 minutes ago. So clearly,
No,
you
I
have
didn't. I
time.
said I might have to go in 3 minutes. I said I have to go in 3 minutes.
Okay,
Obviously,
so
I'm
I'm
stalling.
gonna
I'm leaving
I'm
right
gonna
now.
continue with the argument. You can keep trying
Okay,
to cut me
so the
off and
first
let
response
me
was a
not.
non
I
sequitur.
did
Give the other
14
argument.
different
Go
things to you.
ahead.
You can think that, yeah. Any fucking ways.
Yeah, she was
Again,
ass.
strength, when he speaks in reference to strength, surely not in reference to him surviving the building falling on him or whatever other
Yeah, that's not what I
possible
said. You want to
hypothetically
conclude?
granted.
It can be a conjunction.
I gets pushed back by the attack very, very fucking blatantly. We see Sukuna fly back after the work.
Okay, let's conclude.
So I
So
think it
we do
is going
this
to be a
at
comparative measure, more likely than not.
Okay,
Strength is gonna have-
okay. You just repeated yourself. Let's conclude. Are you done?
Yep, we're done.
I bet. All right, future. Okay, you can judge the recording. All right,